Oh.
We got a lot of stuff in front of me today. Oh boy.
Is that Jefferson Ocean?
Come on. Coach Alex, the coach's fifth. Oh, my live.
That's right, we're gonna have a little quartet.
All right, good evening, everybody. At this point, we'll open up the presentation by Jack and Alistair on our building prop. That will be on the agenda for May of 24. Gentlemen, I'll turn it over to you. It's coming. Here we go. Slowly but surely.
Good evening, and thank you very much for having us over here to talk about the 2024 Capital Improvement Project, the referendum on May 21st of this year. Let me just grab the, let's see. I assume I just click this button and point that way. Is it? Hold on.
You said you did this before.
I have done this before, apparently, but hold on. Let me just see if I can flick through the slides. It's not. There we go. So this evening we're going to kind of a quick introduction of myself and Jack, and then we're going to kind of go through the scope of work for each of the buildings, round on the budget financials, and then a rough kind of referendum schedule depending on if it's well, leading up to the May vote, and then if it's successful, a project schedule. So obviously my name is Alistair Aitchison. I'm with SEI Design Group. I've got Jack Terrio with Terrio CM Services. He'll be a construction manager. Come on. Let's see if I can get it from here. Hold on. This is not flicking forward. I don't know if it's... You can try and hit it from there. I don't know if it's... For some reason it's... Oh, there we go. So the first portion of the work we're looking at is approximately $3 million worth of work at the high school. You'll notice that each of the buildings that we're going to be presenting this evening has a secure vestibule element. The bottom left-hand photo is an example of the existing conditions at the high school right now, where for a visitor to come in and actually run through the Raptor system, they actually have to enter the building and come up to that front desk. So we'll be looking to try and create 2 points of entry. I think we discussed this a few months back, but it's just a way of being able to create your A phone outside, which allows for initial kind of entry into the building, and then into a vestibule where you can then run any ID to verify if they're a risk or not to the building before they then gain access to the rest of the building. In addition to the work being done over at the high school, we have some leftover work from a previous capital improvement project where we'd be looking to remove the dark room. This is no longer used. We'll be increasing some of the safety measures on the stairs. On the right-hand photo, you'll see this existing stair that was built is no longer it's considered an existing non-conformity, but if we have the ability to make it safer, we'd look to try and close up some of those large openings between the railings, so that prevents anybody from getting their head stuck, for instance, which does happen, I'm told. We also have some mechanical equipment that gets replaced in this building, in addition to some site work as well, which again is just an ongoing work that we address with each project. If you can flick forward to the next picture, next slide. This is just a kind of graphic. You'll see each of the buildings, we have a graphic that goes along with it, just shows some of the kind of areas of work that we're going to be addressing. You'll see that the track outside is scheduled for resurfacing due to its age. We won't be doing any, the interior work was done 6 years ago. Well, actually, no, it was 5 years ago. 5 years ago. So in keeping with maintaining the kind of the track, we're going to be looking to recoat it. And over, it should be the next one should be the middle school, where we're at right now. Again, we're looking to create a secure vestibule here. A lot of the spaces are actually, we're able to kind of utilize your existing vestibules based on the space between both pairs of doors, and then create a separate standalone kind of security person. The toilet rooms, I don't know if you've had a chance to see the toilet rooms opposite the main office. We'll be looking to renovate those. The photo in the bottom left is an example of where a wash hand basin was asked to be added to the women's bathroom, but of course there was no room in the main portion, so it was added to the ADA stall. So for you to be able to wash your hands, you have to wait for the person to come out of the stall before you can go in and wash your hands. We'd be looking to renovate both spaces so that it becomes, I guess, more user-friendly. In the auditorium, we'll be replacing the carpet, and then in here we'll be doing some aesthetic upgrades, including removing the kind of old partition track that we see above us. And then there is a gym RTU with a rooftop unit that was scheduled for replacement in the last project, which we will now be able to kind of address in this project. The structural work for this rooftop unit was done as part of the 2021 capital improvement project. So we're already kind of ahead with getting that work done. We just want to make sure that the rooftop unit can now be replaced. And as you'll see here, this is just kind of a color-coded example of some of the work that's going to be occurring throughout the building. Over at Lincoln, which actually comprises the almost 40% of the entire referendum because of the work that's involved over there, we're going to be seeing some of the kind of course, the secure vestibule, but also some of the non-ADA compliant door hardware, which is where you have like the knobs instead of the levers. We'll be replacing those. The biggest portion of it is actually converting the heating system within the building, going from steam to hot water. The photo on the right is the existing kind of boilers that are down there, so we'll be looking to tear them out and go back with more energy efficient hot water. And then that also involves kind of like work to 11 classrooms in the wing above, where we have kind of existing fin tube that's hidden behind the cabinets, which we'll be looking to replace and also insulate the exterior wall. There's also some additional stormwater outside that we need to address in the northwest parking lot, which is what you see here. One of the kind of tricky parts with this building is just the secure vestibule. We're going to have to enter into more of the building in order to create enough clearance between the doors, but we believe we have a viable solution to make it safe. In Glendale, you'll see both Glendale and Glenwarden as almost carbon copies of each other with the way the secure vestibule is designed. We can actually, our intent right now is actually to punch through the masonry wall into the main office and to create a transaction window at that point. So there's actually very little in the way of direct kind of, I guess, disruption to the running of the building, so we can actually utilize that existing vestibule, but just make it safer and bring people into the building after they get verified. We're going to be replacing some of the non-compliant hardware and also removing, there's I think 30 VAVs, which are mechanical units above the classroom ceilings, which are now obsolete but need to be removed. And also there's 2 rooftop units which were they were earmarked as an ad alternate as part of the last project, but not awarded. So now the time has come to be able to remove those and replace them. We also, you'll notice on here, some of the kind of purple, or sorry, not purple, the teal colours are representative of VAT, which is vinyl asbestos tile, which is in areas which is not student occupied, but it's good to be able to kind of remove that when we can, to go in and just tear out the old 9x9s and go back with safer flooring. And then, as I say, Glen Warden is fairly similar. There's, again, almost the same area, the rooftop units that get replaced are the same vintage, secure vestibule, and then we'd be adding accessible parking signage. I should note that Mr. Giaquinto's put forward a project, actually it's going to be going out to bid this week, which may actually address the accessible parking signage as part of that project, so one less scope item. And there we go, there's the 2 rooftop units. Most, like the work we did 3 years ago was actually to convert this building from steam to hot water, so a lot of the areas that we're doing at Lincoln was already done at Glen Warden, and Glendale was done about 6 years prior to that. At Sacandaga, we have a little bit more complicated secure vestibule set up here, where we met on site last week just to kind of review some of the kind of space confined, or confined space that we're creating by going through those main doors. So we're looking at the possibility of forming a new exterior door where that sign is on the brick, to be able to go through into the main office and create a secure vestibule separate from the top of the ramp doors that are there. We also have we've been undergoing kind of work over at Glen Warden with transformer install, which we look to do over here as well. So we remove the old transformers from the basement and go back with a new NICEAG transformer here. And then, of course, pneumatics, the pneumatic controls, which we're eager to replace in this building, along with an upgraded mechanical system. You'll see the kind of the purple is indicative of the work where we're going to be doing some classroom aesthetic upgrades, which is replacing the casework and also some of the high ceilings in that area, knocking them out. This also, you'll see from this plan, we have the field house, which is in the orange, just adjacent to the basketball court. Right now we're targeting replacing the heating system in that building, and also replacing the water line back to Sacandaga, so that we can upgrade that, because right now it's an existing galvanized line that is past its design life. As mentioned there, with the field house, we'd also be looking to, we've got security camera upgrades over there, and also, I mentioned, as well as the heating system, we're going to be doing new controls there as well. At the district office, it's the smallest portion, and we are looking to replace a exterior door which needs to be deteriorated due to salt, and we're also going to be putting a concrete pad in the shed at the back of the parking lot. And there's just an example. Very little scope over here, but it's necessary work. So of the kind of proposed 12.5 million referendum, based on an aggressive kind of 12% of incidentals, which covers all the kind of testing, A&E fees, the contingencies and such, we reckon it's around about $11 million worth of direct construction cost. There obviously is a more than just what we're seeing here with the totals, but these are the large chunks of work. As we've talked about, this referendum is primarily geared towards providing secure vestibules at each of your buildings to improve student and staff safety. We also have to capture a lot of the kind of mechanical and plumbing upgrades that we've talked about, where a lot of the units themselves are at the end of their design life and they need to be replaced. And then, of course, the Lincoln portion, which is a large part of the entire project. We do not anticipate any tax. In fact, there's, based on projections, there's no tax increase based on the 12.5 million total referendum. This is in keeping with the debt service as it falls off, and Mr. Giaquinto has been very kind of careful in how these projects are structured. As you'll note, they're almost on a 3-year rolling basis in order to maintain, so that when debt's falling off, we're replacing it with new debt, so that it doesn't impact the taxpayer. And this is the kind of, we're right in the middle right now, actually. the board has already accepted the recommendation to proceed with the vote in May. We've already gone through the seeker action, and we're looking to, in short term, we're going to be putting out the voter referendum through Bond Council to publish it in the newspapers prior to, it must be done, 45 to 49 days before May 21st. We'll be also working with the district to prepare newsletters and any sort of mailings to get the word out on the street, as well as these public information meetings. Should it be successful, we're targeting approximately kind of 5 to 6 months, which is a fairly aggressive time frame to be able to get design done and then get it into SED. As of today, SED's review time is upwards of about 24 weeks, which is considerably more than our 2021 capital improvement project. There has been talk of maybe bringing back third-party review, which would be advantageous as we've used in the past. But this would be us targeting roughly kind of like now, a year from now, we'd be going out to bid with anticipated construction of summer 2025 and summer 2026. And that concludes review of the referendum scope. Obviously each building, I mean, Glenward and Glendale are similar, so those ones will be almost identical, but the intent of having the front door with an A-phone where there was a visual of the person and then coming through into a kind of holding vestibule will be the same in each building. We may have an instance where you're then being buzzed through into the corridor, or you're being brought into a waiting room off of the secure vestibule. It really depends on how we were able to kind of utilize the space, because some of the, like for instance, Scotia-Glenville is a good example of there's not enough space. Like there's no vestibule as such right now. You walk through the doors and you're straight into the hallway, and then there's immediately beyond the doors you've got the door into the main office. So we can't enclose the main office door, because as we were there for about 20 minutes last week, and there was just a constant stream of kids, coming and going into the main office, so we can't close that off. So we're now looking, saying, okay, well, Scotia-Glenville is going to be a slightly different setup, where we're having to maybe come through into the main office off of the exterior door access potentially, which is doable. It's maybe a slightly different setup.
So generally, when this is all said and done, a person like me would go up to an Aerocom that buzzes into a vestibule,
Yep.
a holding area, and then whoever comes and see me or whatever is going to happen. And what kind of glass is being used, or how's it? The vestibule, like the glass, regular glass? Or?
Well, typically what we specify is like a level 3, which is a kind of in the middle of bullet resistant glass.
Okay.
And shatterproof, yes. Yep, and the walls themselves also have a layer of bullet resistancy into them as well. Just to the idea essentially is you're enclosing someone within that vestibule. They're not going to gain access beyond the vestibule. And to be honest, most of the people that are coming into the vestibule are either dropping something off that their kid forgot. There's seldom. The likelihood of people coming into the vestibule and then kind of moving on, going elsewhere in the building is actually not as high as you would imagine. So we're really just using it as a sort of dropping off point where we don't want adults then wandering through the building.
And in the high school, it said remove darkroom. I'm not understanding.
So yeah, it's an old photo processing darkroom. It used to be used when they had the it's. Yeah, so it's essentially about I think it's about 70 or 80 square feet of classroom space that's just not utilized. So we'd like to remove it and return it back to instructional space, because it's the program is no longer used.
And if you don't mind, continue on here.
Yeah.
The cafeteria ceiling here.
Mm-hmm.
The cafeteria ceiling tracking wall finishes. What do you mean like wall finishes, like right behind us?
Yeah, you can see some of they've got tectum above that's sort of deteriorated, but the lower level is actually like a fabric wrap panel, and it's quite frayed. So we'd be looking to try and introduce acoustic panels or something that's also going to minimise the amount of sound reverberation, but brighten it up a little bit.
All right, and Glendale, maybe I don't understand the acronym, the VAT flooring.
Yeah, that's the vinyl asbestos tile. Yeah, it's only in primarily it's only in the kind of the storage areas off of the corridor, like custodian.
Custodial and janitor closets.
Okay.
There's a couple of storerooms that have them. It's pretty much identical for both.
Yeah. Yep.
And I believe we removed it from Glendale, but not Glenward. Some of it because we removed cabinets and it was attached to the apartment. So in that process, so now we're just cleaning up the other areas that are left.
I mean, typically the stuff lasts forever and ever, and unless it's compromised, there's no reason to remove it. But in this instance, if we have the ability to go in and take it out, then we should, because it makes sense.
And VAVs, that's something different, or?
Those are what do you got?
The valves for the units.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the acronym. It's variable air volume. Yeah, they're basically boxes above the ceiling that control the air flow. Yeah.
How much so that one classroom doesn't get everything.
Okay.
It reduces or expands depending if how far it has to go, and so that it's distributed.
Kind of like a damper, or sort of?
They're electronic. Yeah. You
Okay.
could say they're our damper control. Yes.
Okay.
And we'll adjust. They usually set and then monitor.
And I thought for some reason Glen Warden was getting a new parking area recently.
They are, but it's not tied to this. That's a separate project that's funded through the repair reserve. So when I came to present, was it maybe, I don't know if it was 2 months ago perhaps, we went over the Glen Warden parking lot, and it's gone out to bid on Wednesday, if I can get Ms. DeLong an advertisement for bids for the paper.
Can you say parking signage, like what was missing or something not there?
No, it's just you have accessible parking right in front of the hydrant in front of the building, but typically,
Right, actually, it's
yeah.
It's big, like, yeah.
Once they repair it, put the signage back in.
Okay.
But it was also a need for, as a capital project, that was done before the paving was done.
Okay. That's all I got. Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other questions from anybody? If not, thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
End the hearing, and we will resume with our regular board meeting in 5 minutes.